Hi, I'm Brenda Jean Power Medicine Woman from Medicine Woman Solution. And there's always a solution once you're aligned. But how do you get aligned? Use healing tools. So, what we're doing in 5D is we have taken a major separation. Do you ever take a cheese sandwich and pull it apart and you see all this cheese and this ooze and goose? And that's where we are. And then there's going to be this dross that's there, and it's choosing which side of the veil do you want to be on. And we have been in hell, the hellish state, for so long. But how do you know to get out of hell? How do you know that you're in hell? I mean, because you wake up every day and you got a great life, but I have negative thinking, so how would I see it? I have aches and pains, how would I see it? So what grabs your focus? What grabs your attention? I always have these people, they're always whatever. They always want my attention, whatever. Okay. Again, how do you know that you have chose your heaven? Now, we've done everything we can by, positive thinking, which helps, but it's just an overcomer. The roots are still there. The reactions and responses, and you are the sum total of all of your experiences. This is true when you start to learn about the body, the subconscious mind, how we function, how we create ourselves. But in the end, how do you get out of hell? Or how do you even know you're in hell? When you are believing, the power of suggestion. So when you're moving forward and you are making a bigger difference in your world, how do you know you're moving forward? How do you know you're doing it? It is when the advertisements pull you back in. So like, for instance, some of these emails, hey, oh my God, look, they caught you on camera. Self-conscious fear, all of this will pull you in, and you push that button and it sucks you in, and then there's a virus. There's something there that has to get your attention. And then you have to suck the control out of you so that you are powerless. We don't need to do that anymore. We don't have to do that anymore because that's part of that separation. Time to wake up. How do you know you're in hell? And I have, what do you want to call it? I have really done my best to look at what it was, what it is, but is it true? It has changed. It has changed to the point that we're starting to see those fine lines, those very fine lines between heaven and hell. And people will come, and I was there once too, and you can't help but to cry and to scream and believe the pictures that are in your head and the torment that happens to you every day. You can't help that. Or can you? You have the time now because that energy, that higher self, that authentic part of yourself is able to support you more because you're waking up and choosing, do I want to be my higher self or do I want to be my false self? And there's going to be battles. But as you wake up and you use tools, the battles are going to get less and less. And you're going to start learning how to use the quantum law of attraction and learn how to walk sacred and talk sacred. And you'll make your space more sacred. You will learn to balance your yin and yang energy. You will learn to find that ability to be stronger. Okay? What does this mean? It means you have a chance to get out of hell. It's kind of hard when all you have people that you've ever had and all you've ever known is in doom and gloom or impending doom, or they're in victim mode, they're in pain mode, and your heart goes out. Now, love will always win, but you have to first wake up and redefine what love is. Love doesn't have to be messy, not any of that stuff. They are something to experience, they are something to gather, but it's not meant to live there. It's not meant to torture yourself. The act of self-judgment is done through the ego mindset, which keeps you in a state of hell. We have two states of mind, heaven or hell. If you want your heaven, you have to heal your hells. You cannot live in two places at once. You will be what's called ultra spiritual. The ultra spiritual will simply be, I'm spiritual, look at me, I have all the gadgets, the bells and whistles, and I know all the terminology. And have you applied it? Have you gotten rid of the roots, changed the roots? Do you understand that when you have a tree and the fruit that it bears will depend on the roots that it shares? Because trees communicate. Trees know that their morphogenic field is based on this, and I'm going to produce an apple until you crossbreed it, and then you get different varieties, which is fine. But the roots. So if you want to live just in your heavenly state while you haven't taken care of your roots, you're overcoming while your demons are still attacking. Your thoughts, your pictures, your mind will constantly be bombarded. And every day you wake up and then you set your intentions maybe high, and yet something still brings it back around to the things you have to resolve out. And you're like, my God, am I not done with this yet? When you begin to move out of the ultra spiritual state, you have to choose. You cannot serve ego. You have to use ego. Your authentic self, is meant to use ego to communicate. How to communicate with your authentic self. Finding that authentic self is where the cheese is right now. All that drippings. It is stripping away, taking it apart, and forgiving yourself. It isn't about other people. People may attack you, hurt you, because it's my process to get over, whatever, and look at me. And you can look through all the narcissistic ways of being because of your baby. Once we were all narcissists. And if you really want to go back through science, you were all assholes first before you developed a body. Seriously, go look through that information. What we're given today is that a chance for you to heal. Somebody asked you given numbers. Monday or Sunday Monday show is about giving numbers and giving readings. What today's show is about healings. It's unlimited. You pay a certain amount, you come in, you're on screen. We start to help you to address your health by taking care of the roots, by helping you stop seeing that your false identity, your pain, is telling you that if you got to keep the pain in order to protect you. We're helping you to change those chemical peptides. We're helping you get clarity of the mind. This is about the healing show. You are learning about the quantum law of attraction. You are learning to move in a direction that allows you to move out of a state of hell, and so that you can start walking sacred and talking sacred, that you can start to be more of your authentic self and rise. You are the bird. You're either going to be the phoenix or roasted chicken. Which one do you want? My job here is plain and simple. It is more clear today than it was a year ago. It's more clear today. I've come here to help change the world, create a new foundation, not play it. I'm not here to play the game. I've done that, been there. Now I'm waking up. I'm supposed to show you the finite details so that you can go, oh my God, I see it. So that you too can wake up from the false self and learn to stop using self-judgment. Hell is that self-judgment. Hell is that moment you keep repeating in so many different scenarios, but you keep coming back to that same moment to put yourself back to sleep. No matter how many times you try to do it differently, it is that power of choice of going, if I make this choice and I do this choice, then wait a minute, I'm back in hell. If you begin to wake and see the cycle, you'll see that you've done everything to get out of hell, except for change your belief, except for stop accepting the pictures that are built in your head because it tugs at your heartstrings. That's not love. To hold something over on somebody, that's not love. We have endless movies that people did it with crimes of passion. But that's not love. It is seeking outside themselves to find love, and then it's their fault, outside's fault, that I'm not loved. Is it? It is a way to look at things, but is it? You are meant to wake up, and you can be distracted, and get sucked back in. Or you can begin to walk sacred and talk sacred. Quantum law of attraction is where we are at now. It is more set in stone. Was it 5-6 years ago? Maybe it's longer. That's the first time Spirit says, do you know that you're teaching quantum law of attraction? But you can't really tell anybody because they don't quite get it yet. And I said, okay. The quantum law of attraction. You know what LOA is. It's what you sow is what you reap. Now, some people use law of attraction is I'm going to get a vision board and I'm going to focus on it 10 minutes a day, but then I'm going to go live in my ego self and be in my pain and my hell because I don't know how to get out of it. And it's going to cancel my order of my law of attraction that I asked for. See, law of attraction is basically you said here, this is what I want. You took your GPS, your aim and your focus, and you have a tracking number saying, here it comes. So you are guaranteed it's coming. But people don't know how to get that tracking number, even though it's been handed to them, they can't see it. But they do know is the stages, and that is, it's not here yet. It's not here yet. It's not here yet. Ah, okay, fine. I have to soothe myself and convince myself I didn't want it in the first place. Then you go over here and you take your hells. It's the journey. Okay. Quantum law of attraction is to take how you see things and use who you are in here, not your ego self. You got to get to your authentic self. And sometimes you'll go back to sleep and you wake up, you go back to sleep. It's okay. You're unzipping. You are learning to peek out. You're learning to say it's okay because that Luciferian energy is not with us. The vibrations are completely different here. So as you begin to wake up, you begin to look at your roots. You begin to heal those. You use the tools. And every day you get to open up, unzip, stick your head out further and realize, wait a minute, I've got this. You may all of a sudden realize that I can't do this. I can't do, wait a minute, I could do that and I can change this. How does that even happen? Is it just going to happen? It can for some, but if you want it faster, you're going to go put new information in over the old, because the old one's still set, the GPS set, you're going to aim that in direction. But the new information will say, wait a minute, do I have to do that? Oh, you are meeting the ability of choice. What if I did do it something different today? And the more you start to observe as a spiritual investigator, the more you're going to witness and collect clues that, wait a minute, because I chose to heal the root, choose differently. I mean, I could look at all the freaking chaos. We forgot how to resolve people. We know how to control and demand and all this, but we can get caught up in the hell. Oh my God, oh my God. You know what? Those oh my Gods need to be resolved out because you're going to have to face it every single moment of every day. You need to give it a new answer. I got this. Hold on. All right, so this is it. Now I can resolve by the old way, and it's important you see how you do it. And you're like, oh, that was really not healthy. I'm going to take my power off that. But here, 2 seconds to do this versus 24 hours, 2 weeks, a month to do this to get that resolved. Oh, wait. You know what? Screw that. I'm going to go over here. And the more you expose yourself, the more this won't be an issue. You change the roots, you change the pictures, just change the pain. But you won't know unless you learn how you defined it and take your power off it. As you move into the next part of who you are, you're going to have a lot of people, a lot of spam, a lot of adverts from hell. Come visit hell. And you want to know what those are? By pulling on your heartstrings. There's nothing wrong. No, the Pisces area was all about loving the underdog, being the underdog to make a message to the bigger dogs. Martyr was very important, but not in this time. Being the victim was important because it helped bring out the word, because we could not see. Just listen. Did we know about child abuse? No. We had to have a parameter and victims and things like this, and they finally are getting their voice. I've seen many people, without having tools, learn to reach deeply and evolve from it. Amazing people. And they didn't let it taint them, hurt them, or pass on the pain. But as we start to bring to light of this choice and the results of that choice, oh, I'm going to beat them because that's all I know how to do, because that's the emotions, and I'm going to hurt somebody because I can. But the results of that, you're like, whatever. You put up so many blocks around our heart in so many different directions. But as we start to peel away those walls from our heart, we can begin to empathize and sympathize and understand, because we have been there. We can begin to walk sacred and talk sacred and say, maybe we don't want to do that anymore. And as we began to learn to hear those voices from the victims, it brought new knowledge that says, I don't want to treat people that way anymore. I don't want to be that kind of personality anymore. And remember, your personality is what creates your personal reality. So if you don't like your life, go in and change your personality. Not squash it, not repress it, resolve it out. And you're going to go over here in this direction. And as you come over in this direction, and starting to understand the difference between heaven and hell, understanding how the hellish state will pull you back in, saying, well, this is what worked once. And that theory is this: when you're a child and your hellish state controls you, it does not have to always ring and remind you and make you go back. Your ego says to you, you must protect yourself by remembering so it never happens again. Well, what does it do with the law of attraction? You want to be saved? You have your tracking number, but you have to hold on to the pain so that you don't get hurt again. Fair enough. What's it do to the thing that you're asking for the protection? What's it doing to it? The law of attraction states what? It's very important that when you begin to open up who you are, you used to be your whole self. And this thing people say, well, what's the third eye? It's how you saw with your consciousness. That's who you really are. Individual to collective. We closed that down so we could do the involution process to see to the depths how far we could get from our true self of love. As we take the involution down, we decided we're done. We've actually feel we're done. Now, we're done having to do this going backwards. But how do you let go of all those experiences that really control you? Well, this is where we're at, because in the evolution process, the more you heal instead of just deal, you start learning new tools. And when you go into, I'm going to resolve this shit, this personality, this story, this line, this way to protect myself. Once you begin to see the parameters and witness, your third eye has always seen. But you can stop over-identifying with matter, and you can start to come into a state of that energy And you get to see more through your authentic self with your consciousness of who you are. And your third eye will clear up. Your energies of yin and yang, as it starts to move through the body, the lower 3 chakras begin to affect all of the upper chakras. And the other upper chakras cannot be affected until you look at the first 3. And the first 3 is about safety, security, and stability. We're moving to sanity now. And we're learning to understand that we're energy. And as we take the chakras, which are levels of consciousness in each of the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual bodies, if you are emotionally immature, it's going to affect all the other bodies. If you're mentally immature, it has nothing to do with school. It has to do with your thought processing and how you talk to yourself and how you judge yourself and how you educate yourself. Because when you're in high beta, these levels of your brain, but when you're stressed, you get into high beta and the emotions become very active. The things that are trapped, the things that you haven't resolved, the continued stories. And I got to hold on to the pain because you know what? That's the only way I know how to protect myself. And the mental part of it is you'll keep running that circuit, that what's happening, but it will increase because you are running in your mind to be the hero. I've got to figure out how to win. How do I get this particular outcome of safety, security, and stability? You are spirit. You are so much more than this. You are so ready to move away from the false self. Somebody asked, tell me more about the third eye and the subconscious mind. Okay. You basically have an innate intelligence inside the body. That is your superconscious. That is it helps run the body. It does everything you say. You're the one that's a programmer. You're looking at my subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind has all of these rules. Number 1 is to preserve itself. And if that means you want to program it to hold on to hell, so be it. That's what happens. But your subconscious mind doesn't need you to move its finger, this body, unless you have an experience that somehow crushes it, destroys it. And even though I had my fingers crushed, now they weren't set right. I waited forever for the hospital to tell me what to do next because I went in to get help from a doctor and they told me they'll call you. And every day they just assumed that my hand was set. Miscommunication. That's what a lot of this happens. If you don't know how to talk to your subconscious mind or talk to your higher self, and you don't know how to look through your third eye properly, your third eye needs to be developed. Your brain, if you ever looked in the scan, oh, look at how it's firing. We have learned through ego how to do it wrong, to do it unhealthy, to do it to where we lose our personal life force power. When you move into a direction that you're going to take your life force power back, and it's not about power play, I'm going to steal your power, and it's about, can you hold your power to be strong and not use it against anybody, but to get into the quantum law of attraction, which is being responsible for what you're putting on the vision board, what's set in your GPS. The quantum law is that if you start to observe something, especially through a tool that helps talk to the innate wisdom. You mean I don't have to keep repeating this? Let me tell you something. When I'm talking about a tool, let's take one simple one, the OMG one. Ta-da! Take your hand. It is a electromagnetic hand. Your blood is electromagnetic. Your frontal lobe is where you create reality. And when you're stressed, fight, flight, freeze, fawn, sometimes fornication, the frontal lobe, 80% of the blood goes into your limbs to keep you safe. And if you are going to get into I got to worry, I got to think, I got to figure this out, I have to do, which is all normal for humans. Because you're trying to decipher and trying to move there. But if you are just an ego, then you want to gather minions and you want to hurt back and you know how to fight. Oh, I'm the alpha. Oh, good Lord. Now, I teach people, grab your hand, do this. Oh my God, I'm in my hell. Oh my God. Observe, what number is it? Oh, it's a fucking 10. Oh my God. And all you can hear is the content and the quality because you have 41 thoughts per minute. And it's always in a loop about where your energy is going, where your energy is going. Now, if you want your energy back, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Keep your hand here. Talk to the innate. Allow yourself to understand you are the healing tool. As you are using your tool, as you would go into how you did things before, but you added a tool, blood starts to come back up. Your emotions start to calm down. Your clarity of your thought comes into mind. Where the hell did it go? Do you want it back? Do you want your hell back? No, 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 no. You're beginning to wake up. You have the ability to heal yourself instead of just going, oh my God, you'll train yourself with enough healing that all of a sudden you're like, wait, do I have to really answer the way I used to? No. I can resolve. I have other options. Before I could never see them because I was in that arrested development. I couldn't see no options. But now that I've got healing a tool, I have options. I feel better if I take the options because do I really want to live there? So the quantum law of attraction is you start to notice how you observe, especially with the healing tool, that you can change the law of attraction in your favor. Not ego selfishly, but to, wait a minute, I have been investing my energy into pain and suffering when joy I'm hardwired for. And you can take that negative biased brain that you conditioned to be and fire, use a tool as simple as the OMG in your brain. We'll say, wait a minute, wait, we have new incoming information. Instead of running to the end of the timeline with scissors and saying that it's written in stone and that's all there is, you mean I have a different choice? And the brain will look over and go, I feel better if I did this. Or you can start getting addicted to joy. Who knew? I've learned. You can put down your shit bags, go over and go, you know what? I'm going to be unafraid of the unknown because the unknown has good and bad in it. Why do I keep reaching in for the bad? Based on this? Wait. Forget it. Done with that shit bag grocery list. Hold on. Thank you, Spirit, for showing me how to resolve this. All of a sudden, bing, let's say I appear. She just said I don't have to lose power to that. She said, if I just simply disrupt the signals, I'm going to give this a shot. And I measured it. Oh my God, it was a 10. You know what? I'm actually seeing my thoughts. And sometimes you can't use numbers. You have to use your thought as a measurement tool. I really hate that this happens, even though this always happens to me. And then you're tapping. Well, this happens because I see them as butt heads. Keep tapping. This happens because this is all I know. Really? You keep tapping and going, this doesn't always have to happen because guess what? If it's always happening, it would happen now, happen now, happen now, happen. And yesterday I had some joy. It means it didn't happen then. You're starting to re-educate yourself. So you stick with me only if you want to move to communicating with your authentic self. And you're ready to let go of the things that control you, that grab your attention, that demands that you have to live a certain way. Emotions, thoughts, other people's beliefs. The words that Spirit uses is a language. It's a glossary. And each of those words is empowered with love so that you can be, oh, wait, whoa, 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 wait. Now, when you first start using the language, you use it as a weapon. Oh my God, you're so arrested development. I'm so super. Now remember, ultra spiritual people don't know that the ego is infecting their beautiful love side. But they will always go to what they used to do. So how they do anything is how you do everything. So they know the language, they know the tools, they can use them as weapons. And when love is used as a weapon, is it really love? Because for so long, I couldn't figure out why. I would be crushed by those that said they loved me. And the moment that I had a voice and said, but I don't want to do that, and then they got louder and screamed at me because I wouldn't do what they wanted, I realized this. So let's say you're growing up and you learn that if you vacuum after the mess, it won't get, it won't get through the house. Or you have a way that you do dishes and the little sink stopper has a plunger that you didn't know about. Yeah, my stupidity. And you discover it and you're like, oh, but I don't have to call myself dumb. Look what I discovered. Didn't come with a manual. Oh, so when you screw it down, the suction happens and then your water won't leak out. And then if you unscrew it, it releases and then the water can drain out and you don't damage your little strainer thing. So you have this wisdom and you pass it on because you see somebody not knowing what you just discovered. And, everything's fine. Well, then you bump into people and you talk to them. And they're like, well, I know that. As if to say, my response is that I don't want to look stupid. So I know that, which means they just shut their cup off and they don't want to take any more in. And then there are people that have been taught that their whole world's going to blow up if I tell you. Now, see, if I had this type of personality, I would take what I've learned and just superimpose it on you and make sure you do it my way because I've learned it. You should already have learned this type attitude. And if you don't do it, I'm going to beat it into you until you do it. But that's not my personality. So there's two different ways there. When I started to look at the kaleidoscope of life and those little perspectives started to make sense, it was, how do you talk to somebody about what you learned? And Spirit says, hey, guess what? How do you present? How do you deliver it? Well, this is what I learned about this. It's amazing. And it's not trickery, it's witnessing. And then once you give it, walk away. Respect is still how they do it. Don't keep looking back going, you're still doing it wrong, because there's no right or wrong on this. How do you impart wisdom? Instead of jamming it down people's throats and demanding that I change your behavior so that you prove to me that I'm right. That's ego. You can change that. All right. There's a lot here. The energy has completely shifted and you are going to get this dross of, well, like I said, the cheese sandwich thing. When you start pulling apart and it's all those little cheese, people are going to choose sides. You're going to have to be okay to choose you. Keep going back to choosing your authentic self. Going back to choosing your authentic self, not your false self, not your bitchy self, don't cut her. That's not what I'm talking about. You can choose to be done playing the game. This is how you get out of the matrix. You can choose, but you always choose you. So that means you have to be okay to lose family and friends if they're determined that they want you to show up. Now, part of the old way was every day you can stand up and say, this is who I am, and they will always lovingly trick you into showing up the way they want. The problem with that is you're not involved in the relationship. You're owned because you're messing with their world. When I started to become more me and make my choices for myself, I had people that was pissed because I changed their world. Stop showing up that way. Stop it. Well, you've changed. Aren't you a bitch? Am I? Yes, you recognize I've changed. Maybe I'm going to look at this instead of going into guilt and to shame and going back to sleep. Oh, thank you for noticing. Okay, but my heartstrings don't have to sit there and beat me to death. I love you and I will hold space for you. And I respect the fact the way you're doing it. And you stick with who you are. You move with your authentic self. You keep healing your shit. The more it starts to show up, you're like, oh, I'm giving myself birdies and signs. Okay, I'm going to go back to the drawing board, heal that until I change the belief, change those pictures. So I stop accepting, giving my willpower away by believing. Because when you're in pain, the outside, you don't have your power. Your issue has your power. Your emotions have your power. It's time to resolve those. I'm so happy that you don't mind me talking. Now, we are coming into the Love and Wisdom series, and that is you are done living in hell. As you begin to change the roots and you begin to heal your shit, you get to begin to stop pushing out the problem and the problem pushing in you. That wisdom's locked out here. And when you start to heal the roots and you change the way you think and you change your personality, it comes here. But what comes to you is the wisdom first. So the wisdom will come because every time you healed your hell that you were pushing away, that's the resist. And the persistence to which you have to see is the law of attraction. And as you trap the wisdom is that when you heal the roots, you will stop pushing it away, bringing it in, see the wisdom and stop falling for the hell. You literally begin to change the law of attraction. The quantum law of attraction is that once you start to observe it differently, especially with the higher side of your mind, the higher self, not I cut God out and I'm doing self-realization and I get to control everybody. That's not at all what I'm saying. Yes, being present in the past couple of days, being present, doing the energy work. You're going to see the reward as yourself, that the love is there. You can take all that off. Keep going, Amanda. Oh, good, Kevin. I'm glad you enjoy it. Hi, Crystal. Yes, and it is standing up and knowing that you're not alone and you don't have to live in hell. I have to keep reminding people, you've already got this. I have watched people heal, triumph, go back to sleep, heal, triumph. And when the hell comes up and it starts to swallow you, and if you grab a tool, the ones that are huge are the physical pain. My God, they smack your ass around. But you move the energy, you keep going, you're going to get ahead of it. And I remind people, you've already beat this once. You've already got it in you. You already know how to resolve to evolve. Go tap into that and remind yourself, I've done this before. I have resolved this. I'm going to go look for it. Instead of going back to repeating hell, you're like, shut up, shitbag, shut up. Look at it. Thank you, Spirit. And all of a sudden you'll see that in that unknown, you're not going to be the law of attraction of attracting hell. Because you shut up, you took your power back, and you're looking, and you're like, holy crap, look at all the beautiful gifts in there, in the unknown. Because if you understand the quantum field of potential is all things, and it's endless, good, bad, indifferent, whatever. But we only keep reaching in and grabbing the same few to protect ourselves. But as we heal that out, take our power back, we get to reach in. Because we're educating ourselves that there is more to the story, that there can be goodness. You're training yourself with Spirit. When somebody presents to me, oh my God, the world's going to blow up. Thank you, Spirit, for showing me how to stop that. Thank you, Spirit. Show me the quantum law of attraction. There's something more than just what I'm believing. So I start believing, and all of a sudden Spirit will go, here's a sign. Use hemp to save the trees. Use hemp to use instead of plastic. Use hemp. I'm not saying you can choose whatever you want to believe. And I'm not telling you, I'm just using an example. You train yourself to communicate with your higher self, which is you. And when you start to train yourself with love, you will begin to look into that unknown of hell and say, shut up. I'm looking at my heavenly state. And it's not airy fairy shit, because you're going to get the universe to say, hey, oh my God, she just saw me. Here's some more smiles. Smiles. If you happen to follow me, you'll understand that I like to see smiles and things where otherwise I wouldn't see them. This was my proof that God was with me. And one day, me and my husband are in the caravan. Oh my God, we're in Tasmania, and I can't remember which side of Tasmania, but the roads, oh my God, I was just physically, mentally, emotionally exhausted. I'm like, I can't take this. I'm sick. I'm dizzy. I'm crying and screaming. My husband goes, okay, we're going to stop the car. I said, good, because I need to breathe. And I'm sitting at the back and I'm crying. I'm like, what the hell? What? And I'm tapping. And then all of a sudden I had my hand in my head. I'm like, and all of a sudden I opened my eye. And I had looked straight down on the pavement, and all these little tiny pebbles, if you looked at it as a whole, it would just look like pavement. But all of a sudden, these few little rocks smiled at me, and my heart just went, bink! I went into the high side, and I'm like, oh my God, thank you, Spirit. That's so better now. And I started producing all those chemical peptides that come bouncing around. My husband goes, wow, it was quick. And he's like, you better? I go, yeah, Spirit's got my back. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. And so I remember and I witness, and I have those turnaround times. So if you are hurt, you have a process. It's the 5 stages of grief. Dr. Dispenza says, if you're going to respond on the smallest things and you live there forever instead of just giving yourself 2 minutes to be in that hell and you're done with it, take your goodies and run, then you're getting planning to figure out how to save yourself, because you're going into hell. You need to get out of it. Well, he didn't say it exactly all those words, but I added a few. But if you've learned through a conditioned process in the Pisces air that you have to gather minions, or that you have to have a bitch session. Now, I have no problem with therapy. You have a session. Everybody has a voice, because their voice is important, but you don't have to live there. Take your power back. Resolve to evolve. Give yourself that space. My God, when people that died, I cried and cried. But as I began to say, wait a minute, do I want to live here? And then I tried to convince myself that, yes, I love them. I can't live without them. But is that true? I've done this before. I have lived, and I have moved on. Wait a minute. You get to flip your own switch. You get to flip the own script. You are the one that has the pen in life. I'm done going back to sleep. So those that get pissed at me because I don't obey them, bye-bye. Or as they say, bye, Felicia. Are we being sarcastic? Okay. The point is, I love you, but I will not put myself back to sleep for you. You can hate me all your life. You can share it with everybody and say, hate her, she's a bitch. Hate her. I don't care, because I don't live there. I have dusted myself off and I've started over. And Spirit, in the story of Job in the Bible, Spirit says, look, reach for that light and you shall recover. I offer one-on-one sessions. Absolutely. That's how I started out. And then we hit a lot of economic times. And when I lived in the United States, I live in South Australia right now. And the one-on-ones was how I was helping people. And then Spirit says, well, you got to take it out of the office and take it to the classroom. So then, this is pre-internet, or videos like this. And so I said, sure. So I opened up my classroom in 2003, and there was a fire that stopped me for not very long, because then I found another house, and then I found a permanent place. And then Spirit says, hey, you got a path switch. You're moving, because you're moving to a higher side that you have to go, or you can stay in hell. I'm like, oh no, I'm not doing this. I gave myself marking points in my own soul that said, if I don't wake up at this point, kick my ass. I'll kick my own ass. And if I can't see it, I'm going to make somebody else kick my ass. But the thing is, I had mark points. So then I come over here and Spirit says, okay, you need downtime. So I didn't do anything for like 4 years or 5 years. And then finally it was like, now go. When you have a spirit go, holy shit. I mean, they're all suggestions, but there's a spirit go. And it's such a deep knowing. I said, okay, but if you want me to go on the air, I need a computer. I need a camera. You know, don't mean to ask for things, but if you're asking me to do what you want me to do, I kind of need a little bit of help. So I trusted. I said, thank you, Spirit. And the next thing you know, here I am. One-on-ones. People can't afford them. That's why I create shows like this. This is why I create the classroom. That's why I create the tribal. We have a tribal, Kevin. But this is for people that are waking up. They're going at a pace. Maybe they can't. They have to work at a different shift than what I'm on. But you can go back to the archives and visit all of the meditations, all of the soul coachings, because they're meant to go in and you can relate to them and begin to heal. There's the questioning and answering one. Sometimes that question and answering is a teaching one. And then there is, what's the other? Oh, self-help healing tools to explain them deeper. And then there's the classes, the Academy class that has just begun this year, and they are formed in groups. So the first one, before you can go into and do any of my classes, is that you have to do the first one, and that is connecting to your higher self. Okay. My pricing is like the first 15 minutes is $30, but after that, the price drops the longer I'm with you. And it's not because I don't value myself, it's because I value you and I value the work. And I will give to you what is important. And when you come in, if you have to have answers without healing, so be it. But if you know how I operate, holy crap, all I can afford is $15. Okay, let's go for it. Get in here. You know what I'm going to do. All right, so I want you to do this, and all of a sudden you begin to evolve faster and quicker. There's so many other different ways that Spirit has helped me to show up for people. Hey, you know what? Got to put my peepers on. There's a lot of words going on. I love this. People talking. Betty says, you have helped empower me so much. I have not identified with or claimed bipolar disorder in over a year. Yes! Chronic fatigue syndrome is also a thing of my past. Yes, I see these as labels that I needed as an excuses until I could learn healthy ways, tools to cope, handle, deal. Yes, she's learning to resolve, to evolve. Excellent. Witness, keep doing it to yourself. Witness, keep doing. And you are worth it. And then you'll start noticing how you put yourself on the wheel of life, that you're just as important. Let's see. Gemma says, I love your authentic self. Oh, thank you. Yes, if you love my authentic self, then you're going to love your authentic self, because I'm a reflection of you, people. Yeah, you have it there. Kevin says, is clearing your space and crystals and sage and protection just saying you can't protect your own energy? No, that is just how we have energy. Let me tell you one thing about that. I've learned how to heal them and clean them and do all of this. So one time my friend was getting a divorce and I had a room to rent. So she goes and hauls all her stuff and we didn't have no place for it. I said, just put it in the one classroom until we're ready. So I'm walking into the classroom and all of a sudden, bam, I'm like, oh my God. And I am very sensitive to energy and I had to turn around and walk back out. And I'm like, what just happened to me? And then I peeked back in and I'm like, wow, her things are yelling at me. Not at me. It's just that it was the accumulation. Everything's consciousness, and it will collect and it will change. Every fight that she's ever had was in that stuff. All her precious stuff had taintedness from all of the collection of where she was. I said, holy crap, we need to clear out all that energy off that, because it's going to, so as soon as you try to move forward, that energy is going to pull you back. This is why you have to look at the things in your place cleanse them, clearing, and release that to which it is. Kevin says, my third eye is super open and I'm about 2 months in, and in some point I told the worlds of dark and light that is too much. Yes, because our nervous system may not be ready. This is why you do upgrades. That's why the meditations, that's why you do the healings. You're preparing your nervous system, and because you don't want to get burned out. And so every time you heal and do things, the more you're going to be able to switch on those inner lights that you have. And when you are intentionally downloading the spirit, you will then be more in charge, because you, sounds like you have a soul contract that says, I need to wake my ass up, or I'm going to wake my ass up this way, and da 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 da. But I can hear, I am determined not to go back to sleep. So good on you, Kevin. Stay awake. We need people to wake up. We need that ability to hold the light, because more truths are going to be coming through at all times. So again, the only way that I can keep being present every day is that I'm going to need you to share into groups that accept healing. This is psychic, but it's not psychic cards or psychic. Yes, I use a pendulum, but I do want something to very clarify before I go into the what's happening next. And that is, if you are ready, you can come onto the show. You just have to look and email me. Let's say I want to come on the show. If you have money, then the PayPal's here, and then there's that, and you can come into the room. And so you can do it in that fashion. So that, well, yes, you'll have to come online and be with me, and we work. Now, I have different tools that clean objects, and I was trying to figure out a cheap way to get it to be in the United States, because it takes $22 to ship. You know, so if you're going to order at least 3, because I have 3 different styles. Well, actually 4. 1 you can use on anybody else. Then there's 2, it's personalized. 3, it has I should have taken a picture of it. I just sold my other ones. 1 has a fuser so that you can dip it into oil and you fuse. The other one is magnetic so that it can change the magnetic field. This is what's called a bobble wand. I have my marking on the bottom. I connect it with energy either through Reiki, or I'm taking it into the personalized, and I will not tell people how I do it, but it has your signature, none of mine. It is all connected to your higher self through that higher bandwidth. Okay. Now, this is called a bobble wand, and so if somebody is saying in my name that they can personalize it, they have not learned that ability to personalize it to you. They don't have rights to really continuously to sell them, but they will. And I'm not the inventor of these. This is not a new invention, people. It's just bringing it back. But this can clean, if you have a ton of rocks and you can't take them outside, you can use a bobble wand, because it changes energies and changes the vortex. It's used with intention. It's used for healing. This can be used for chakras and things like this. This can actually help, because I can't. There are times that I have allergies and I can't use sage, which sage is very good because it cleans out those little things you can't see. So I will use this. Okay, called a bobble wand.